Okay, so today we're going to be going over the script, just a quick run through, and we'll see how it goes. It is October 7th, 1949. Mr. Poe is taking a stroll through Baltimore, Maryland. A boy knocks into Poe, but continues to run. "Excuse me, boy, come hither." "Oh, I'm hungry." "Good afternoon, Hungry. I'm Edgar Allan Poe."
"Oh, Poe for poetry. You seem like such a dud."
A boy of great distaste. I presume you like candy?"
"Yes, sir."
"Well, since you called me a dud, no candy for thee. Unless you let me tell you the story of my life."
Wait, before you begin, how long is this going to take?
Well, it's going to take between 8 and 12 minutes.
Okay, hurry up.
To begin, I'm a stubborn introvert. That means I like long walks on the beach.
You're definitely a dud.
Say what you may, but I myself was the talk of the town. But it wasn't always that way. It all began a long, long time ago. It is January 19th, 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts. Mr. Poe has just been born to David Poe, Jr. and Elizabeth Arnold Poe. He has an older brother named William and a younger sister named Rosalie. "Boy, hear to it, so that you may know that we are going to New York, and from within like a great many monsters. It's
Poe. It's the summer of 1809. Why would bad people be in a city?
Well, that's a good question. Because, my young boy, bad people, like homeless people, get hungry and try to eat children wandering the streets.
Oh, forgive me for my outbursts.
Soon little Poe's father would leave the family, and in 1810 Poe and his mother moved to Virginia. In 1811, little Poe's mother died in Richmond, Virginia. The young Edgar, though not legally adopted, was taken in by a wealthy Scottish tobacco exporter, John Allen, from whom Poe took his middle name. When Poe was in his mid-teens, he became aware of his foster father's unfaithfulness to his wife. Arguments between Poe and John Allen began to escalate, beginning what would be a decade of conflict between the two. So we transition back to the present with the older Poe and the little boy. I've had a lot of internal conflict and conflict with others. People would say, "You're insane." My answer is always, "Oh no, I'm gonna stab you in the head." People would always assume I'm insane. It's like if I said to a guy in a wheelchair, "It looks like you don't do a lot of dancing." I would assume he doesn't do a lot of dancing. They assume I tell you. Assumptions can be wrong.
Why were you so poor if you were so famous?
Well, I gambled, drank, and did drugs. I wish I had made a profit of children's books, though. It would go something like this. I am a mouse, and I say nevermore. For I look outside my window and see the tempest that will destroy my family forevermore! The end. And it'd be something like $12 a piece, and then on the back of the book, the synopsis of the story will be longer than the actual story. And, anyways, enough about me and my childhood dreams. Mr. Poe is now an adult male attending the University of Virginia. Due to college debt, Mr. Poe tries to gamble, which consequently leads to an even greater debt. After this, He looked to his father for money, which was an unsuccessful effort. After a year at the university, Poe returned home for the holidays. He was devastated when he learned of Sarah's engagement, and Alan refused to allow Poe to return to school. Frustrated by the deterioration of his personal relationships, Poe moved to Boston to try to make a living. Following the unenrollment, Edgar headed to Boston in the spring of 1827. That day, Mr. Poe went for his daily stroll. A stranger named Rick strolls up to Mr. Poe.
Hey, did your father abuse you at a young age?
Yes.
Did he leave you at a young age?
Yes.
Are you in debt?
Yes.
Then you should join the army.
Yes.
Why'd you say yes?
Yes. Years later.
Wow, Poe, you've come a long way. I can't believe you've made it to the highest rank, Sergeant Major.
Yeah, sure, but my dad hates me more than celery, and that tells you something. Again, he refuses to pay my education fees.
Well, good news. You've been accepted into West Point.
Really?
No, I'm kidding about that. I just lied to you. Of course, I'm telling the truth.
So, after less than a year in school, Poe is discharged from West Point by the court-martial for neglecting his military duties.
How's it been with you, Poe? What are you doing now?
I don't know, Rick. I feel called to the life of writing.
You? Writing? Ha! I thought you were gonna be a doctor.
I'll show you. You and the rest of the world that has no belief in me. This is America, after all. So Mr. Poe went on to be a poor wretch who, brought about the Gothic genre. So the boy asked a question about the Gothic architecture. Do you see that church over yonder?
Yes, it is very, very spooky.
That is from the Gothic movement. It is technically not from America, but that church was an exception, being built in America.
Tell me, good sir, what is that? Is that the same as the American Gothic movement?
No, you ignoramus. I will tell you about that later. The Gothic movement, took place around the mid-12th to the 16th century. The decorations, like the one on the church, have very exquisite geometric designs. The literature, on the other hand, arose during the Romantic period. It embraced the ghastly and the ghoulish.
That is so boring.
Shut up, child.
I don't care. Just tell me about the American Gothic.
Oh, okay. Disrespectful youth. Listen carefully, boy. The American Gothic movement delved deeply into the depths of human character to uncover the hidden truth behind society at the time. Now, in literature, it is easily recognizable due to the distinct locations and settings. It also...
Can you talk about the gory stuff and the ghosts?
Well, people who had been dead for 100 years, my stories are about ghosts, yeah? People who had been dead 100 years prior wouldn't even know what a faucet was, for example. And people misinterpreted my stuff. So, they're not going, boo, scaring people. They're going, ooh, ah. Because they're interested in the new technology. I mean, I don't know what people were thinking when they read my books. I mean, anyways. The year is now 1827. Oh, I'm tired of being a clerk. I think I'm going to quit my job and write a book. Years later, I finally finished my book. And I'm gonna call it Tourmaline and Other Poems. Poe barely had any money at this time. I have an idea. I'll serve in the army for a couple of years, earn some money, and that'll be that. 2 years later, he wrote his second book, Al Araf. 2 years later after that, he wrote another book called Poems. Just poems. That's it. Poems. The year is now 1832. Wow, remember the writing contest I entered in Baltimore? Saturday Visitor? My short story, MS Found in a Bottle, just won. I have a new job that I really love. I'm the editor of a Southern Literary Messenger. It's my favorite periodical from Virginia. For the next 10 years, Poe worked as an editor for different periodicals around Philadelphia and New York City. An important part of his writing career was in the years before he died, 1848 to 1849. He wrote a lot in these years, though. Quite a lot. We're back to October 7th, 1849, where Poe can be seen talking to a boy on the streets of Baltimore. Oh no, I am starting to feel delirious.
Are you okay? Help! Help!
And so the doctor comes and takes Poe to the hospital. We're still not sure exactly how Poe died, but we are aware that he drank and did a lot of drugs. So hence the sudden death. Now, even though Poe is dead, his writings are still read today by many people. His works can be found in many different languages, and some of his poems have been made into museums. Furthermore, some of his belongings can also be found in museums.
But he is still a dad to me. Thank you.